footsteps, big kaiju footsteps, kaiju noise, roar. Oh. But hello, I'm Greg, aka Cookbook Thor, and welcome to Yinz Dahn to List 'em, where I invite friends to rank various topics along with me because it's much more fun that way. And today's subject is a massive one, literally and figuratively. It's kaiju, daikaiju, big monsters, call them whatever you like. I was fortunate to be able to call upon an expert in all of monsterdom as my guest today, and he's the author of books such as James Bond and the Sixties Spy Craze and Primetime 1966, 1967, and he even has a new one on the way, which we'll be hearing about.
Yep.
And you may have heard him on podcasts such as the Dana Gould Hour or TV Guidance Counselor with Ken Reed, or you may have met him at the Monster Bash convention in Mars, PA, like I did. So say hi.
Hey, how's it going? We've been friends for a while now, I think. You know, how long actually have I known you?
Yeah, several years, probably. How long? I've been going to Monster Bash, boy, since it was out here in Butler.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So at some point along the way, yes.
All right. So yeah, so probably early 2010s, maybe somewhere in there.
That's probably a fair approximation.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, I, like you said, yeah, I've so far I've written 2 books that have published out right now as of recording. Yeah, one about primetime television, 1966, the first season that every show was in color, and the second being about the James Bond films of the 1960s and the subsequent knockoffs and spoofs and just terrible combination of the two sometimes. So sometimes they were great and sometimes they were awful, but I wrote about them all and I watched them all. So I was told that a book about a singular topic tends to sell. So I said, well, what's a movie that I really love that doesn't have a book out yet? And King Kong versus Godzilla was there. I'm terribly surprised. You know, people have written about obviously King Kong. People have obviously written about Godzilla, but you know, just never wrote about that film. So I said, well, here we go. Let's do it. So I started writing, started doing some research, and here we are. It's coming out from Bear Manor in December, hopefully.
That's awesome. I cannot wait to read it. Yeah, I really enjoyed Primetime 1966-67. It's very thoroughly researched, and I learned a lot of stuff. And I look forward to learning more about one of my very favorite movies. I've actually got the VHS over on my shelf over here. If my arms were longer, I would grab it. But it was the first movie I ever bought on VHS when we got a VCR in about 1987, 88. And I watched the heck out of it. And it will always have a special place in my heart. And I'm just delighted to have this book coming out.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, mine. I remember renting it from my. I don't think I owned it on VHS, but I remember renting it from my video store, and I have it. I think I wrote about it in the foreword. I'm pretty confident I did. I remember thinking, oh, I wonder what ending I have. And as discussed in the book, obviously there is the 2-ending urban legend of the film, and I now think about it, and I thought, well, I had the American version. What ending did I think I was going to get, even if it was true? So, yeah, so it's a really cool film. I'm pretty confident I saw that movie before I saw any Godzilla film, to be perfectly honest with you. But yeah, the book celebrates that film and subsequent films that came out, and also a lot of the book is, well, why didn't they put King Kong in that movie? So I've discussed in subsequent Godzilla movies, how much cooler say All Monsters Attack or something along those lines. Having King Kong there would be awesome. So we discussed that quite a bit in the book as well. So and the nuanced pop culture history that I also love, where just odd stories and things like that. I'm drawn to. That's I've written about that too in the book.
So excellent.
So as for this top 10 list, I have been absolutely positively racking my brain, and there's monsters that I've changed the list. Even right before I got on here, I started looking at it and I'm saying, well, okay, this one, and I can have a list of honorable mentions, and I came up with two, and then I bumped others out of the top 10 into the honorable mention, and then back in. So I'm all over the place with this. So
That's what
I
it's all
think
about.
we'll be, yeah. So I love it. I love the top 10 format. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I did much the same thing. I think I was like brushing my teeth last night and thinking, should I put such and such? Should I swap such and such out? I mean, is my number 9 really my number 9? Then could I work in so and so? But all will be revealed shortly here.
Yes. So,
Yeah. So,
how does this work?
without further ado, let's get to it. Who's your number 10?
Well, wait. Like I said, I have honorable mentions.
Okay, all right.
So these two
We can
popped
do
out of
honorable
my
mentions
top
now.
10,
Yes.
and I felt like I needed to talk about them. Number one is the Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. This guy really set the stage for Godzilla. Early reviews of Godzilla, even in Japan, compared him to Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. How reviewers liked Beast of 20,000 Fathoms better. So I have added Beast of, and obviously has the atomic angle to things, and a look as well. So Beast of 20,000 Fathoms, very happily on my honorable mention. My second honorable mention, Anguirus from Godzilla Raids Again, who does come back, destroy all monsters and things like that. But he has set the stage for kaiju battles, because his battle with Godzilla in Godzilla Raids Again, or Gigantus versus the Fire Monster, if you're in the United States, really set the stage for King Kong versus Godzilla and all subsequent kaiju battles throughout the rest of history. Okay, so then we'll get to my number 10. So my number 10, kind of a went out in left field, which I'm obviously used to being out in left field on occasion. And my number 10 is Gorgo from the King Brothers English film Gorgo, obviously. Really cool film. And also, I guess, kind of subsequently on that would have to be the kangaroo kicking Gorgosaurus. In my head, they're kind of the same thing. If I see Gorgo, I think it's probably they were heavily influenced by this. They said, we're gonna steal him, but we're gonna give him some cooler powers. Like we're gonna let him do some kangaroo kicking and things like that.
Yeah, there's some. If we could do kaiju DNA testing, we'd probably find that up for sure. And yeah, there's got to be some blood relation between the two, right?
Absolutely. In my research, Gorgosaurus is a real dinosaur, unbeknownst to me. So now when somebody asks me what my favorite dinosaur is, I say Gorgosaurus because, well, he was in King Kong Escapes, and Destroy All Monsters, and but again, his English film was really cool, and a lot like King Kong, destroys a national landmark, things like that. We definitely saw some real and a tragic story as well. But we definitely see some similarities between the two in those films. So that's a film that I could watch all the time. And I thought a really cool character, and a character that does not get the respect that he deserves. So Gorgo / Gorgosaurus, number 10 on my list.
I think that's probably fair. Yeah, Gorosaurus did get a few licks in and destroy all monsters. That kangaroo kick was able to help devastate King Ghidorah. So
Yes.
he got to shine a little bit there, as opposed to just being King Kong's sparring partner in King Kong Escapes. But yeah, he's another one who's over on my shelf over here, and my arms just aren't long enough to reach him. I have
Neither
a
is
very
his.
crowded kaiju shelf over here.
Neither his arms aren't long enough either.
No, he struggles with that. Yeah, which I wonder if that's a common trait of the actual dinosaur as well. I gotta consult a little paleontology online here after we get done here. We gotta do some book learning along with the kaiju learning. But, yes, I've got a couple honorable mentions myself. The first being Colonel Glenn Manning, the Amazing Colossal Man.
Yes.
Yeah, it's. I mean, yeah, I kind of like his melancholy of being big and being miserable, and um, that was the one I was debating adding on as I was brushing my teeth last night, and the decision was made.
No, it's okay.
He's an honorable mention.
I love that movie, and I think I like War of the Colossal Beast a little bit better. I think that's a rare movie of sequel better than the original.
Mm-hmm. I think that's fair. Yeah, I want to say it had a little more action to it, maybe because he was more feral. You had to have his face smashed off, and he's
Yep.
just, and it's somehow that made for a little more, yeah. So I wouldn't disagree with that. Yeah. And my other honorable mention is going to be Gyron
Ooh.
from the Gamera universe, and he impressed me with his ferocity. The Gamera movies are a little more kid friendly, but he was wickedly violent. Butchering a poor Gyaos and just about doing the same to Gamera. He was a nasty dude, and I give him respect for his toughness there. It was almost a little jarring the way he was severing limbs in that movie, in a kid's movie.
All those movies they always say were kid friendly, but they had a fair amount of blood, fair amount of violence that certainly needs to be thrown in there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, and that brings me to my number 10, which is going to be Rodan. To me, he was always sort of like Godzilla's unofficial sibling, and they fought like brothers, but deep down they were on the same side, and they had to be convinced of that occasionally. But he could take a beating, and he could dish it out as well. And I think deep down he and Godzilla were really pals, and they just fought each other just because of ego.
Yeah, I think it definitely was because of ego. When Mothra has to bring them together, and they were never necessarily even enemies. There's not really a film in that original universe where they directly fought each other as the title would suggest.
Yeah, they were never a main event battle. Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice. All right. Yes. So my number 9. My number 9 is the Giant Frankenstein from Frankenstein Conquers the World. And I chose. It's a movie that I like the movie. It's a good movie. I watch it every so often. However, the backstory of the Giant Frankenstein, I think, tops everything else. The backstory on this, where it's the end of World War II, a descendant of Dr. Frankenstein is working for the Nazis. They take the heart. They put it on a U-boat. They take it to Japan. Where do they take it? Nagasaki, where it radiates the heart, or Hiroshima, I forget, to radiate the heart and and eventually get this Giant Frankenstein. That's the coolest backstory a monster could have. it kind of makes sense. It
Hmm.
I think it's interesting. I think uh, you know they should have given the latter part of the movie a little bit more substance. I thought he was a little goofy of a monster. Um, I don't know, but I feel like the backstory alone is certainly worth it um, for that to make it my number 9 pick.
Yeah, that is a top-notch origin, absolutely, and it's just so casually put out there, and
Yeah,
it's, yeah, but it's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah,
Backstory is, again, backstory is worth it, and I felt like they could have done a whole lot more with that monster. As discussed in my book, um, the original uh, King Kong versus Godzilla was supposed to be King Kong versus Frankenstein. Later
hmm,
changed to King Kong versus Prometheus, and presumably would have had would have been made in America initially. They were really shopping some American studios. Um, I just based on who wrote it, it was Werther Yates and Jerry Jurin would have directed it. Those were the original guys. I would have assumed it would have been Columbia, based on their line of work and movies that they put out. I would have assumed Columbia or maybe even Warner, but obviously they weren't interested in that.
hmm.
I don't know why, but when it was sold to
Yeah. Why
Toho,
would you? That seems like gold to me.
exactly. So, especially at the time too, you have the rights to Khan. Come on. So uh, sold to Toho, and they swapped out Frankenstein's monster for their own homegrown kaiju. So
Hmm.
we'll get to later.
Yes. Yeah. That comes to my number 9, which is Otachi from Guillermo del
Ooh,
Toro's Pacific Rim.
ooh,
Now there were a whole lot of big ugly kaiju in that movie, but to me, she was the one that really stood out. You know, she could spit acid and dissolve uh, the big Jaeger robots that were built to kill them, and had a prehensile tail that she attacked with. And when she lost that, she grew wings. And it turns out that on top of all that, she was a fighting mother. She was pregnant that whole time because after she was killed, um, her baby came out and ate Ron Perlman. You know, and that is like a model of motherhood, is it not? Just
your
she's
baby can eat
working all the
Ron
way.
Perlman.
From her perspective, she's fighting to fighting for her kid, and yeah, but those big mean Jaegers tried to take her out, and yeah, Gypsy Danger did eventually um, lop her apart, but got her revenge sort of on Ron Perlman. Um, but
Those
yeah,
are movies I need to absolutely revisit. I saw them both in the theater and never really uh, came back to them, and I probably should. I loved both of those movies. So that's a
mm,
good pick. I like that.
yeah, I was when the first movie came out, they did a set of HeroClix game miniatures for all of the kaiju except Otachi, and I don't know why they skipped her because she would have been the coolest one.
Hmm.
Like they did, Leatherback and Slattern and Knifehead and whatever all their names were, but they didn't do her. And I don't know if her powers were just too complex or something, like losing the tail and sprouting wings, but and you know, spitting acid.
Well,
I don't
yes,
know.
you could have
They could have
the
made it work.
water spitting. That would have been good.
Hmm.
All right, so my number 8, we have the Thanksgiving holiday coming up as of the time of this recording, and so I've gone with the giant turkey monster claw from the giant claw, and this is a film that um, I could only imagine the look on the actor's face when they saw this monster. Uh, as legend has it, they had shot the scenes, shot the movie, which in all uh, just based on looking at it, they spent some money on this. They spent some money on the sequences. They spent some money on the film. This was not a cheap film. However, when it came time to adding the special effects, again, legend has it, Ray Harryhausen was supposed to do the effects. They ran out of cash, so they shipped it off to Mexico, and Mexico sent back this kind of puppet marionette turkey vulture monster that is absolutely positively ridiculous. And I can only imagine these actors sitting there for the premiere and maybe just wanting to slide under the seat and completely disappearing. But it is a really great film, and a really great film to probably watch around or on Thanksgiving. So Giant Claw, really cool story. You know, there's this turkey from outer space that's made of antimatter, which I think is also very ahead of its time. You know, that you didn't really have that type of thing. It was another dimension. It was an interdimensional being. So it was cool. So
Absolutely, yeah, that's an ambitious plot, really.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, everybody just remembers yeah, the big old turkey being kind of a little bit on the silly side, shall we say? But
Mhm.
that said, if I had seen that movie on TV at 5, 6 years old, I would have thought it was a little bit freaky just for the creepy puppetness of it, I guess.
Yeah.
But a little older, I mean, it's hard. Not, it's you kind of have to laugh along with it, and it's certainly the inclusion.
Absolutely.
And my number 8 would be going back to Toho, Gigan, and as he had another name in my household growing up. I after I got an NES, one of the first games I got was Godzilla Monster of Monsters, which is a video game I still revisit quite a bit. And Gigan is one of the boss battles, of course. And he has this doggone belly saw. In the game, it extends out beyond his claws, and he pins you against the side of the screen and just sucks the life out of you. And my sister thought that was terrifying, and she called him the scary guy, and she would hide under the bed whenever I fought in that game. And,
But that came out for the NES.
mm-hmm.
Oh wow! I don't think I've ever played that.
Oh, it's a good one. They did a sequel, Godzilla 2, War of the Monsters, and that one you're like the military fighting Godzilla, but in Godzilla Monster of Monsters, you're actually Godzilla and Mothra going through this board, advancing to fight and meet various kaiju, and it's got a ton of deep cut Toho stuff in it. I mean, there's levels where you have to fight a giant Matango, and
Really?
yeah, all manner of different ships and such. I think yeah, the Super X is there various times, and yeah, the lineup of monsters is pretty good. Like the first two you fight are not like ones that you would think of. The first two you fight are Gizora from Space Amoeba and Bulgara from the Mysterians.
Really? Wow. Okay, I'm gonna have to check this out. Okay,
Yeah,
it's on my
yeah. Let me know what
list.
you think.
Yeah,
I think you would love it. Yeah,
yeah. Sounds it.
yeah, yeah. Gigan pops up in one of the later levels.
Is it
I
just
will
like
say
a
it's a
side
little bit
scroll kind of?
it's like the main board. It looks like a game board, and you just select your character and move it X spaces forward, and then it becomes like a sort of a side scroller along whatever sort of environment that the terrain that you move to is.
Hmm.
Like there's jungle levels and city levels, and um, I don't like these subspace levels where these monsters just keep creatures keep spawning at you, and then then after you move your guys, the computer moves the evil kaiju, and then eventually you meet on the map, and then you fight, and the fights last about 30 seconds per round, and
Yeah.
after you defeat them, you move to the end of the map, and then you move to like another planet, and then eventually you get to uh, Planet X, and Ghidorah is there waiting as the main boss, and he is cheap as hell. He also pins you against the side of the screen and just chews on you. And I like it because, I mean, it's easy to just want to beat Godzilla and plow through everything, but really, Mothra is the more nuanced character. Like she's the slow and steady one. Her attacks don't do as much damage, but she can get through stuff that Godzilla might have a little more difficulty as far as terrain. And it's a pretty fun game.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna check it out.
recommend
Okay, you sold me.
it. Awesome.
All right. So my number 7, I have the smog monster Hedorah. Um,
Mm.
Underrated monster here. Uh, really only appeared in one film. Uh, Kind of a goofy film as well. Kind of a little avant. Has the cartoon sequences. Uh, Maybe again kind of a little preachy if you look at it from that respect, but a really cool monster, terrifying. Turns people into skeletons on the street. Um, Kind of this monster only Godzilla can take on, and a really cool look. Some really cool, and also makes a really cool toy. There's a toy store by my house, somewhat close, more by Scranton, Monstars it's called, and
Oh.
they import a number of uh, Japanese toys, and uh, I, they're really expensive. They're a little bit out of my price range, but when I go, I just kind of look at these Hedorah action figures that they've imported, and just I think they're absolutely beautiful and really cool toys. So, yeah, so that's why it's one of my favorite monsters in that Godzilla franchise, and also one that I think doesn't get enough love, does not get enough attention. Everybody's kind of focused on the bigger four monsters. And well,
Mm-hmm.
so I thought we'd bring some light to that today. So,
Mm-hmm.
and also again, kind of scary, kind of feeding on smog and
Mm-hmm.
pollution and things like that. So, is it a film that I watch all the time? Absolutely not. But one of my favorite monsters, and definitely if you're putting together a compilation of Godzilla fighting monsters, awesome, because reaches in, pulls out his eye and everything. Certainly a monster that we should be talked about a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was one that was definitely capable of doing a lot of damage, and he's the number one favorite of my buddy Rob, who I do Yinz Dahn to listen with,
Oh,
and
okay.
run the KRG toy
The
show along
smart
with.
man.
Yes, so hmm yes, he's a man of good taste. Yeah, the only Hedorah figure that I own is a 1980s Gumball Machine stamper, and they were sold under the name Moon Monsters. They were basically bootleg Godzilla stampers you could get out of Gumball machines, and I had one as a kid of Gabara from All Monsters Attack,
Oh, that's cool.
and yeah, that stuck in my head, like because that was a really left field character to have a figure of, and it's like 2 inches tall,
Hmm.
and so I got to researching that. Every so often I'd go back to it, and I couldn't find any information. I couldn't find any information. Eventually, about a year and a half ago, I found information, and there was a pretty big article on Dinosaur Dracula about them, and that's pretty much the limit of the research I've done. But because there is no others, but I did find a whole lot of them on eBay, and I bought a pretty large chunk of them, and I have a set of them now on my kaiju shelf over there, and I have many doubles, and I will give you one next time I see you if I haven't already.
Please, that would be awesome. And Dinosaur Dracula, awesome resource, by the way. I was looking for. Um, I'm I'm working on right now. I'll tell you the title. It's called "Monsters Belong on Television," and kind of a history of monster movies airing on television from kind of the very earliest days of television, the shock package, um, really into the VHS era, is where I'm presumably going to stop with it. But Dinosaur Dracula has become a pretty cool resource of video and toys and things like that. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's cool. But yeah,
Yeah,
thank you. I'd appreciate that.
mhm. Sure thing. Yeah, yeah, it's a great site, great source of nostalgia. And my number 7 is Anguirus. The only one I had on my shelf was Final Wars Anguirus here, but yeah, he's still a good one. He takes a beating like no other and always gets back up. And it takes just as good a kaiju to take a butt kicking as it does to give one, right? So yeah, Anguirus, I always respect him. Yeah, even though he may not always win the fight, but you always know you were in a fight with him.
Yeah, he never let you down with a fight, and like I said, and he set the standard. He set the pace of what a kaiju battle could be. If you look at that fight, between him and Godzilla, in Godzilla Raids Again, they're going at it. There's blood. There's mortars going off behind them. It's that's the blueprint. He's the blueprint right there. So good choice.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
Uh,
Number
all right,
6.
number 6. Number 6 is Mecha Godzilla. Mecha Godzilla on my end. Oh, you look excited. Mecha
Oh, I am,
Godzilla.
and you'll see why.
Mecha Godzilla is my number 6 because uh, he's also a monster that again, obviously. Well, number one, I never really understood why they tried to disguise him as Godzilla for about 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden, oh no! By the way, it's Mecha Godzilla. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he has really cool features. Obviously, armed to the teeth, and he's a monster that Godzilla cannot defeat without some type of outside shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there is, um, they always need. He always needed some type of. He needed another monster with him. He needed. Um, some outside help from human beings to defeat him. So he is a truly a foe that is worthy, more than worthy foe for Godzilla. So that is why I've named Mecha Godzilla. I love both Mecha Godzilla and Return of Mecha Godzilla. I think both of those are really cool films. I even love the ones into the Heisei era of Godzilla films. So yeah, always really cool to see him pop up.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And the reason I was so excited is because my number 6 is also Mechagodzilla. Yeah, it's a becoming a sort of ongoing trend with every episode I've recorded. Our lists tend to overlap at some point, and it's in the whole wide kaiju universe, it's kind of cool that we both had Mechagodzilla as our number 6. Because
Yeah,
whether he's man-made or whether he's from outer space, he's always massively powerful, and he's one that can actually say he holds a victory over Godzilla in the Heisei era with Godzilla against Mechagodzilla when he was.
yeah,
I think they changed his name to Kiru by that point, but he's still
hmm
Mechagodzilla, and he deserves a lot of respect.
absolutely. I agree.
Mhm.
So for my number 5, we've come back to the United States. We've come back to Earth, the Spider from Earth versus the Spider. A film that I feel like I could watch this film all the time. I absolutely love this film. Um, he is a terrifying giant spider. Just one that no matter how many times you think they have him, he kills again. He comes back. So Earth versus Spider, really cool period piece as well into rock and roll, car culture, things like that really goes on in that film. So that's why I chose that film, and again I could watch that all the time. I remember at one point I don't remember what clothing store, maybe the Gap or something like that, or Old Navy. They put out an Earth versus the Spider shirt, and I saw somebody wearing it, and I said, "Where did you get that?" They said, "Oh, wherever, the Gap or whatever." And I said, "Oh, okay." And I'm like, "I love that movie." They're like, "Oh, it's a real movie?" I'm like, "Yes, yes, it's a real movie. It's great." Unfortunately, I was a little too late. I think they bought the previous season or something like that. But I'd want that Earth versus the Spider shirt.
Yeah, that's kind of akin to, seeing people going around wearing Ramones or Misfits t-shirts, and they may not realize that they're punk rock bands. But,
Oh, that's yeah.
it's still nice to
Uh,
see them have with the merch.
I'll do you one better. With the Misfits shirt. Um, my dad only knows the Crimson Ghost from the cereal, the Crimson Ghost, and
Mm-hmm.
he's talked to somebody. He goes, "Oh, you like that? You like the movies?" you know, like, no, it's a band. Like, no, it's a movie serial.
Yeah, and that brings us to my number five, and it's funny that you mentioned the spider because mine's actually a spider as well, and I don't have a toy of it. So I mean, I have Beast Wars Black Arachnia here to represent, but mine is Kumanga from Son of Godzilla.
Good
You know,
choice.
yeah, he's really a scary, believable threat. Who a kaiju that feeds on other kaiju, and probably would have killed and eaten Godzilla if not for little Minya getting up and helping his daddy. And he probably would have killed and eaten Minya if not for Godzilla helping him. And that Kamakarus, the big old grasshopper, or praying mantis, it was a praying mantis, yeah. It didn't stand a chance. And so, he kind of comes across as like an apex predator of the island that they were on. And, he kind of plays into people not liking spiders, which plenty of people do not. And even though that's also sort of a knock against him that he's just a big spider, but I would never hold that against the kaiju. I mean,
No.
he's really impressively done the way I mean, there's some pretty top-notch puppeteering with him,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah,
And
spitting poison in Godzilla's eyes.
both spiders that we mentioned, really don't have any uh, superpowers or anything like that, other than being giant. So that's kind of a testament to them.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and yeah, he has um, the same sort of advantage against Godzilla that the Mothra larvae had with his silk seems to negate his breath a little bit, and
Mhm.
it really, uh, yeah, he came very close to making a snack out of the big G, and then he did come back and help fight King Ghidorah as they all did. So yeah, I feel like he's an underrated one, and I wanted to put him fairly high up on my list.
Yeah, I think that's kind of why I took Earth versus the Spider. Um, so my number four um, is King Ghidorah or King Ghidra, or however
Mm-hmm.
you want to pronounce it. Um, the arch nemesis of Godzilla never became friends. Um, just a real bad guy. He's kind of the Blofeld to Godzilla's James Bond. He's the uh, just a complete arch rival. The guy that goes against Godzilla. Movie after movie after movie after movie. And era after era after era after era um, comes after Godzilla, his arch nemesis, the one that goes after him time and time again. To the lay fan, I think he's not the most recognizable, but certainly his one of his greatest opponents. Probably because he is from outer space. That's the thing. That all the other monsters, all right, like we live on Earth. Let's try to take this guy out, even if, and that was how they convinced Godzilla and Rodan to work together. Is this is a this monster's from outer space. He's trying to take over the Earth. We're here. So I think that that's pretty cool. And again, certainly needs more. Maybe needs a little bit more credit than what he gets. So also very cool. The Aurora model of King Ghidorah, a really fun one to build. So if you're into building models and things like that, I genuinely enjoyed making that King Ghidorah, King Ghidra model.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I do not have that one. I have not built it yet. I have the newer. I think they're under Polar Lights now. They're basically they are the Aurora. Yeah, I have the King Kong and I have the Godzilla. I do not have the Ghidorah, but maybe I'll change that at some point.
It's a good one.
A lot of fun to do. Yeah, and my number 4 is Mothra. To me, she's like the most virtuous kaiju of them all. The one, it's hard to picture Ghidorah as a good guy. It's hard to picture Mothra as a bad guy. I feel like if I could only pick one fictional monster to defend the Earth, it might be Mothra. She's, guardian of Earth, and she gets the job done. I like her a lot.
Great. All right. So my number 3, and going back to the United States, we're going with the ants from Them.
Good.
And kind of, again, much like the spiders from Earth versus the Spider, just terrifying monsters. Early atomic age film, and although it was made after Godzilla, it came out in America before Godzilla, and really set the stage for Godzilla being imported to the United States. Where films like Them, people's interest in atomic energy was certainly at an all-time high at this point. And also, again, just as a personal note for this film, a haunted house, bye-bye house every Halloween. For as long as I can absolutely remember, for some reason, while you're waiting to go into the haunt, you watch Them. And that's they must run it on a loop, or maybe I'm just catching it at the right time every single year. And so, it's almost like I could, at that point, kind of pick out where it is in the film. It always reminds me of a really cool haunted house. So that's why I have chosen Them. And also the sequence where they're in the desert and there's a rib cage in the mouth or whatever it is of the ant is actually a pretty terrifying scene if you think about it.
That's an excellent choice. Yeah, I have fond memories of watching that one on Super Scary Saturday on TBS, hosted by Grandpa Al Lewis.
I have in my in King Kong versus Godzilla book, there's a really cool from Grandpa's show, really cool. They do a tale of the tape of size, and they brought on it was a world championship wrestling wrestlers. Jim Cornette was the manager, I believe, for King Kong, and Freebird Michael Hayes was the manager for Godzilla. So pretty cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, I never saw Grandpa show that episode, but I've seen the host segments on YouTube, and those are top notch.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I only have one on. There's a VHS I own of from the show. I think it was Mesa of Lost Women, and so that was a cool. That's I think that's a VHS I'll never get rid of. Fun memories watching that. So.
Yeah, it was a very cool show. Yeah, I have a VHS that my aunt recorded for me because it was before we had cable TV at my house, and my aunt knew that I liked Godzilla, and she recorded a Super Scary Saturday of Godzilla's Revenge for me, and I still have
Oh,
that
nice.
tape. And it's yeah, those '80s VHS recordings, the tape was much higher quality, so it still looks really good when I watch it today.
Hmm.
I really should digitize the whole darn thing, commercials and all, because it's a awesome little time capsule.
That's an amazing time capsule when you have that recorded. You know, you could spot out those commercials. I have a ton from uh, not I shouldn't say a ton, but it was called the Cannes Film Festival, and
Oh,
it was with Lorraine
cool.
Newman,
Hmm.
and uh, it was sponsored by Dr. Pepper. So there was some really cool Godzilla spots
Hmm.
with Godzilla and Dr. Pepper, and yeah, there's some really cool post-apocalyptic um, sequences of the Cola Wars. It was almost like Road Warriors. So some really cool stuff, and just fond memories of that, and I love watching those. So yeah, that's always a plus. You should absolutely digitize that and upload it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll get around to it. I have a pile of VHS time capsules to digitize, but that's towards the top of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. I almost thought I came across another one yesterday. I was at a sale and I got a tape that said "Flashdance Star Trek: The Motion Picture." I thought, and the guy thought it was recorded off of TV. I got it home. I put it in. It was recorded off of TV, but the jerk cut out the commercials.
Oh no, they
Broke
cut
my
out the
heart.
commercials.
Broke my heart. I know VHS tapes were maybe a little more expensive back then. You want to make the most of the space you got. You got to cut out those commercials. But yeah, in retrospect, I really wish they hadn't.
We should have had them. Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah, yeah. But my number three was your number four, King Ghidorah.
Great minds think alike.
Mm-hmm. Yep, the quintessential big bad. Really, pretty much always takes more than one other kaiju to take down. Although on that note, I actually pretty much felt sorry for him at the end of Destroy All Monsters when he got that gang beat down because he didn't stand a chance. Like I don't know what he possibly could have done to get out of that one, but yeah, he needed a little needed a day off after that beating.
And another one where Anguirus took a beating.
Hmm. Yeah, he got offense in on Anguirus, and then everybody else just stomped him. So maybe Anguirus took one for the team, just
Yeah, I think he did.
open it up. Yeah, yeah, he's one where like yeah, he is Godzilla's arch rival. It's really tough to picture them ever being on the same side, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think that there would be a reason. Um,
Hmm.
Again, you know, he's uh, uh, it comes from outer space. You know, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense unless there's some larger cosmic threat. It's
Hmm.
the only thing I could think of. Um, but I do love the also with him. I love the aliens controlling him in Monster Zero.
Hmm.
The kind of their new wave sunglasses.
Yes, it was a great look.
All right. So I'm gonna my number one and number two are cop outs because I can only choose. I need number one. I want to plug my book. Number
Mm.
two, it's kind of true. So my number two is the big man himself, Godzilla, and Godzilla. I don't know what more I could say about Godzilla than what we've already said. Um, really what kicked off a lot of things, especially in the kaiju world, kicked off the uh, Ultra series with Ultraman, uh, Ultra Q, the success of Godzilla certainly kicked off that type of thing. Um, and just a enduring monster, a monster that's not lost a beat. I love the original. I obviously love King Kong versus Godzilla. Um, I um, in video games, he's great. In even into the new era um, of Godzilla films. That new Godzilla film was incredible. Uh,
Hmm.
uh, and I can't wait to see what they do for the second.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see what kind of monster he fights. Um, if that's the route they're going to go. I was watching a fan theory video the other day, and they said, well, if you look at the logo, that's clearly uh, Ghidra. That's clearly Mothra. It's this or that, or so. The smog monster also was another theory. Uh, so I'm invested. I'm invested in
Hmm.
the big G, Godzilla. So obviously,
Hmm.
and hopefully he's my going to help make this book a success.
Yes, I think he will. Yeah. And you know what? If your number two and number one are cop outs, I think I'm going to cop out right along with you because my number two is also Godzilla. And
Big
this is my
G.
childhood Imperial Toys Godzilla, which I played with until his one arm just about fell off. And I got it back on. And if it ever comes off again, I don't think I'm getting it back on. But, this was he was my buddy on many adventures in the neighbor's swimming pool and in the yard and the playground at school and everywhere else. And he's just about the biggest, baddest atomic war allegory who became a good guy gradually and a friend to humanity that I can think of.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and and in the book, I often I love monster movies, and I also love professional wrestling, as I talked about with
Mm,
uh,
same.
uh, in Grandpa Munster's thing. And often I said he's like a professional wrestling character. He could become a good guy. Sometimes he's a bad guy, and sometimes he could decide to, as the wrestling world would call it, turn heel. That's a cool thing about Godzilla. And also that toy I have him with the Imperial Kong and the classic monsters that came out, I think, a year before or a year after of those two. So I don't know why they didn't make Godzilla a little bigger. He looks a little shorter compared to everybody else. They should have made him, an inch or two bigger. I don't know. He's
Yeah, sometimes they got the scale a little off on those things. Like I remember having Imperial Dracula and Frankenstein,
Mhm.
and the Dracula was way bigger than the Frankenstein. So maybe it was
Yeah,
just an issue with that line in general.
yeah. I'll show you, but yeah, I have them all in one thing in my monster collection room.
Hmm.
All right, so then again, my number one. I have to go classic. I have to go King Kong. King Kong is one of the first monster movies I ever saw. I actually traced when the recording was 1986. My father taped it off of one of the Philadelphia superstations, and I tracked it to the day. But and I remember, on his handwritten notes on the VHS tapes, King Kong. There it is, the original, uh, and really, really, really great story. Obviously a very great opponent for Godzilla. Uh, the one thing I don't understand, I love King Kong Escapes. Uh, Toho had a 5-year deal with for the rights to King Kong. If I was running Toho Studios, I would be making a King Kong movie about every 6 months. King
Yes,
Kong goes to
yes.
space. King Kong fights whoever. Whatever monster we have, whoever you want King Kong to fight, we'd be making that movie. Space, underwater, whatever. He'd be fighting Mothra. He'd be fighting Rodan. He'd be King, whoever, making up new monsters. So, obviously a classic, something that I can, and also again, um, speaking of, as of recording, it is not yet Thanksgiving. A In the Shubilla household, a tradition of watching King Kong on Thanksgiving. I absolutely love watching King Kong while eating um, dessert for
Mhm.
Thanksgiving. Um, it was a tradition in New York on WOR. Showed for many years King Kong, and then they added King Kong, Son of Kong, and then they added Mighty Joe Young. Then added a second day of Godzilla films. So that on Black Friday, you got King Kong versus Godzilla, various Godzilla films throughout the years. So I like to keep that tradition alive, watching King Kong on Thanksgiving, and so that's why he is fresh in my head, and why he is my number one, because I
Mhm.
think he is the best monster of them all.
Mhm. And you know what? I agree with you because he's also my number one. And this is that Imperial King Kong. I did not have this one as a kid. I picked this up at D&E Collectibles in Pittsburgh a few years ago. I did have another Imperial Gorilla, which I think a lot of kids used as Kong when they couldn't get a hold of this one, which was me. And it's similar size, but he's kind of down on all fours and just
Oh, okay.
looking like he means business. And so he laid a lot of beatings on this Godzilla here. And I don't know what happened to him. If I ever find another one, I will pick it up. But really, the last time I checked, its price on the secondary market was pretty comparable to this one because a lot of kids did what I did. But yeah, he's the most sympathetic kaiju there is. You know, the first movie that ever made me cry was King Kong Lives in 1986. Because he spoiler alert, he did not live. And I ugly cried, man. I mean, I made it through. I did not cry when Optimus Prime kicked the bucket in Transformers the movie, but I ugly cried when Kong bit the dust in King Kong Lives. Yeah. Yeah, when Kong hurts, I hurt. And that's one thing I like about Toho Kong is he's more invincible and legendary Kong as well. I mean, if they ever do him in, the waterworks are coming on. I got to tell you.
I'm not crying. You're crying.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Again, I went through, pages of notes, kind of reworking things, throwing them out, um, coming up with some honorable mentions, coming up with some changes here and there. I thought about Rodan, I thought about um, Mothra. Um, uh, I forget who else. I come up with a number of other American ones. Oh, the monster from 20 Million Miles to Earth. I was thinking, is the Blob a kaiju?
Maybe.
Maybe. You know,
It doesn't start out that way, but it builds to being a kaiju, you could
Bill's.
say, yeah.
Yeah. So and that's in my in my book. I mentioned something like, well, there's American ones, and there was Japan, and a couple throughout Europe. Oh, Reptilicus, I could have added
Mhm.
Conga. I think he's kind of a lame character anyway, but I do like Gorgo. Obviously, I said Mexico didn't really have any, and then I thought, well, Santo did fight the Blob, so
Mhm.
I don't know. Now thinking back, I'm going to have somebody who's reviewing my book and say, you know, so
Well, actually.
actually he was. So we'll see how that works. I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah, well, I cannot wait to read your King Kong versus Godzilla book, and I recommend everybody to pick it up and pick up Tom's other books, including Primetime 1966-67, wherever fine books are sold.
Yep.
And yeah, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you. If I see if I do run into those books in any type of Barnes and Noble or anything like that, um, I immediately alert management, and I say I'm signing my book. So if I signed it, I was in. uh, Los Angeles earlier in the year, and I ran across my James Bond book in Barnes and Noble in Santa Monica, and
Cool.
immediately I'm like, oh, I could sign this. You could put the sticker on it. So if you run across it, I am there. So I live in like Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Uh, so they have. I make sure that they're always stacked and well have a good not storage. What am I trying to think of? Uh, they are well stocked in my
Mm-hmm.
books and my local ones. So we'll
As they
see.
should be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's very cool. Yeah. Yeah. So that about wraps it up for this installment. Until next time, keep watching kaiju movies.